Hi, today we are going to see about the most played top 10 games PC. So without further ado, let's jump into it. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and do hit the bell icon for new and more interesting videos. So here we are on number 10, Fortnite. Fortnite is an online video game developed by Epic Games and was released in 2017. It is available in 3 distinct game mode versions that otherwise share the same general gameplay and game engine. Fortnite Save the World, a cooperative shooter survival game for up to 4 players to fight off zombie-like creatures and defend objects with fortifications they can build. Whereas Fortnite Battle Royale, a free-to-play battle royale game where up to 100 players fight to be the last person standing. And finally, Fortnite Creative, where players are given complete freedom to create worlds and battle arenas. Both of the games, Battle Royale and Save the World, was released in 2017 as an early access titles, whereas the Creative was released on December 6, 2018. Save the World is available only for Windows, Mac OS and PlayStation 4 and also Xbox One, whereas the Battle Royale and Creative released for all the platforms and also for Nintendo Switch, iOS and Android devices. The game is expected to also launch with the release of the next generation PlayStation 5 and Xbox X Series consoles. Next up, number 9, PUBG. PUBG is a player versus player shooter game in which up to 100 players fight in a battle royale, a type of large-scale, last man standing deathmatch where players fight to remain the last alive. Players can choose to enter the match solo, duo or with a small team up to 4 people. The last person or team alive wins the match. Each match starts with the players parachuting from plane onto the 4 maps. The plane's flight path across the map varies with each round, requiring players to quickly determine the best time to eject the parachute to the ground. Players can also opt to play in the first person or the third person perspective, each having their own advantages and disadvantages in combat and situational awareness. Every few minutes, the playable area of the map begins to shrink down towards a random location. Whenever a player is caught outside the safe area, he takes damage incrementally and eventually being eliminated if the player is not entering the safe zone within time. Next up on the list we have number 8, Apex Legends. Apex Legends is a free-to-play, first-person shooter battle royale game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts. It was released for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on February 4, 2019 without any prior announcement or marketing. A Nintendo Switch version is planned for the release in the late 2020s, along with a cross-platform play between all supported platforms. Each match generally features 20 teams of 3-player squads. Players can join friends in a squad or they can be matched randomly with other players. Before the match, each player on the squad selects one of the 13 playable characters. Once on the ground, the squads can scavenge for weapons, armor, and other equipment that is scattered around buildings or in crates randomly distributed around the map while keeping an eye for other squads. Players who become knocked out in the course of the game can be revived by other squadmates. If a player is killed completely, they can be still resurrected if any of the team members collect the respawn banner, which appears as the place where they died, and bring it to one of the several beacons on the island. The banner, however, must be collected within a time limit before expiring and fully eliminating the player. Over time, the game's safe zone will reduce in size around a randomly selected point on the map. Players outside the safe zone take damage and may die if they do not reach the safe zone time. Number 7, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is a first-person shooter video game developed by Infinity Ward and published by Attribution. Serving as the 16th overall installment in the Call of Duty series as well as a reboot of Modern Warfare sub-series, it was released on October 25, 2019 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Modern Warfare's single-player campaign focuses on realism and features tactically based moral choices whereupon the player is evaluated and assigned a score at the end of each level. Players have to quickly ascertain whether NPCs are a threat or not, such as a civilian woman who is believed to be reaching in for a gun but then simply grabs a baby from a crib. This collateral damage score, referred to as threat assessment, is based on how many civilians the player injures or kills and ranges from rank A to F. Rewards are introduced to those who score higher. Character dialogue will differ depending upon the choices the player makes in the game. Tactical decisions are also not included, such as the player using a sniper rifle in a large environment to approach objectives in a non-linear order and choosing to shoot out the lights in favor of using night vision goggles during breaching and clearing. The game's multiplayer has been revised to allow for a more tactical gameplay style, including a focus on map exploration, door breaching, and a hardcore realism mode that removes the map. The minimap was originally removed in favor of a compass style marker with visual cues to detect friends and opponents. Number 6. Overwatch. Overwatch is an online team-based game generally played as a first-person shooter. The game features several different game modes principally designed around squad-based combat with two opposing teams of 6 players each. Players select one of the 2 dozen pre-made hero characters from one of the 3 class types. Damage heroes that deal most of the damage to attack or defend control points. Tank heroes can absorb a large amount of damage, and support heroes that provide healing or other buffs for their teammates. Each hero has a unique skill kit, defining their intrinsic attributes like health points, running speed, their primary attacks, several active and passive skills, and an ultimate ability that can be only used after it has been recharged through dealing damage to enemies and healing allies. Players can change their hero during the course of a match, as a goal to Overwatch design was to encourage dynamic team compositions that adapt to the situation. The game's genre has been described by some journalists as a hero shooter due to its design around specific heroes and classes. The game features game modes for casual play, competitive rank play, and for supporting esports competitions including Blizzard's Overwatch leagues. These modes generally are centered around sequentially securing control of points on the map or escorting a payload between points on the map, with one team attacking while the other defends. Number 5. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a 2013 action-adventure game developed by Rockstar North and published by Rockstar Games. It can be played either from a third-person or a first-person perspective. Players complete missions, linear scenarios with set objectives to progress through the story. Players can use melee attacks, firearms, and explosives to fight enemies, and may run, jump, swim, or use vehicles to navigate the world. In combat, auto-aim and a cover system may be used as an assistance against enemies. The single-player mode lets player control 3 characters, Michael DeSanta, Trevor Phillips, and Franklin Clinton, who are criminals whose stories interconnect as they complete the missions. Some missions are completed with only one character and other features 2 or 3. Outside the missions, players may switch between characters at any will by directional compass on the minimap. Each character has a set of 8 skills that represent their ability in specific areas such as shooting and driving. Those skills improve through play. Each character has a skills with expertise by default. For example, Trevor has an immense flying skill. The each special skill determines for effectiveness in performing an ability that is unique to each respective character. Michael enters bullet time in combat. Franklin slows down time while driving, and Trevor deals twice as much damage to enemies while taking half as much in combat. While free roaming in the game, players may engage in context-specific activities such as scuba diving and base jumping. Each character has a smartphone for contacting friends, starting activities, and accessing an in-game internet. Through an in-game internet, you could buy many real estates, and the stock market is always available, as you know. Next up, number 4, Minecraft. Minecraft is a sandbox video game developed by Mojang Studios. It has no specific goals to accomplish, allowing the players to have a large amount of freedom in choosing how to play the game. However, there is an achievement system known as advancements in the Java edition of the game. Gameplay is in the first-person perspective by default, but players have the option for third-person perspective too. The game world is composed of rough 3D objects, mainly cubes and fluids, commonly known as blocks, representing various materials such as dirt, stone, oats, tree trunks, water, and lava. The core gameplay revolves around picking up and placing these objects. These blocks are arranged in a 3D grid, while players can move freely around the world. Players can mine these blocks and place them elsewhere, enabling them to build things. Many commentators have described the game's physics system as unrealistic. The liquids continuously flow for a limited horizontal distance from source blocks, which can be removed by placing a solid block on its path or scooping it into a bucket. The game also contains a material known as redstone, which can be used to make primitive mechanical devices, electrical circuits, and logic gates, allowing for the construction of many complex systems. When starting a new game, players must choose one of the 5 game modes as well as 4 difficulties, ranging from peaceful to hard. Increasing the difficulty of the game causes the player to take more damage from mobs as well as having other difficulty-specific effects. For example, the peaceful difficulty prevents hostile mobs from spawning, and the hard difficulty allows players to starve to death if their hunger bar is depleted. Once selected, the difficulty can be changed, but the game mode is locked and only can be changed with cheats. Next up, number 3, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a multiplayer first-person shooter video game developed by Valve and Hidden Path Entertainment. It is the 4th game in the Counter-Strike series and was released for Windows, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 in August 2012, while the Linux version was released in 2014. Global Offensive, like prior games in the Counter-Strike series, is an objective-based multiplayer first-person shooter. 2 opposing teams known as a terrorist and a counter-terrorist compete in game modes to complete objectives, such as securing a location to plant or defuse a bomb and rescuing or guarding hostages. At the end of each round, players are rewarded based on their individual performance with in-game currency to spend on weapons or utility in subsequent rounds. Winning rounds rewards more money than losing theirs, and completing objectives such as killing enemies give cash bonuses. Uncooperative actions such as killing teammates result in a penalty. Global Offensive has 9 main game modes: competitive, casual, deathmatch, arms race, demolition, wingman, flying scoutsman, danger zone, and weapon scores. Competitive mode pits players against each other in 2 teams of 5 players in roughly about 45-minute matches. The casual and deathmatch modes are less serious than competitive modes and do not register friendly fire or collision with other teammates. Arms race is similar to the gun game mode for other games in the series. It consists of players racing to upgrade their guns via killing enemies. Demolition is also like a gun game mode, though players are also able to plant and defuse a bomb. Do check out the other game modes as well. Next up on the list we have number 2, Valorant. Valorant is a free-to-play multiplayer tactical first-person shooter game developed and published by Riot Games for Microsoft Windows. The game was set in the near future. Players play as one of the agents designed based on several countries and cultures around the world. In the main game mode, players are assigned either to the attacking or defending team, with each team having 5 players on it. Agents have unique abilities, each requiring charges, as well as unique ultimate ability which requires charging through kills, deaths or spike actions. Each player starts with each round with a classic pistol and with one or more signature ability charge. Other weapons and ability charges can be purchased using an in-game economic system, which awards money based on the outcome of previous rounds. Any kills the player is responsible for, and also the actions taken with the spike. The game has an assortment of weapons including sidearms, submachine guns, shotguns, machine guns, assault rifles and sniper rifles. In the standard mode, the match is played as a best of 25. First team to win 13 rounds wins the match. The attacking team has a bomb type device called as a spike, which they must deliver to a specified location and activate. If the attacking team successfully protects the activated spike for a set time, it detonates and they receive a point. If the defending team is able to deactivate the spike or the 100-second round timer expires without the attacking team activating the spike, the defending team receives a point. If all the members of the team are eliminated before the spike is activated, or if all the members of the defending team are eliminated after the spike is activated, the opposing team earns a point. There are also other game modes such as Spike Rush and Competitive. So finally, here we are on number 1, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is an online tactical shooter video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. It was released worldwide for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on December 1, 2015. The game is also set to be released for PlayStation 5 and Xbox X series in 2020. The game puts heavy emphasis on environmental destruction and cooperation between players. Each player assumes control of an attacker or a defender in different gameplay modes, such as rescuing a hostage, defusing a bomb, and taking control of an objective within a room. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is a first-person shooter game in which the players utilize many different operators from the Rainbow team. Different operators have different nationalities, weapons, and gadgets. The game features an asymmetrical structure whereby the teams are not always balanced in their choices of abilities. When the round begins in an online match, the attackers choose one of the several spawn points from which to launch their attack, while the defenders do the same from which to defend from. A minute preparatory period will be given and then the game will commence, where the attackers are given control over mechanum wheel drones to scout the map in search of enemy operators, traps and defensive setups in addition to target objectives, while the opposition establishes their defenses and tries to do without having the defensive targets being discovered by the opponent team, chiefly destroying their drones.